Welcome to today's town hall session. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good night, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to today's town hall session. We are writing the town hall number 21. Time is flying by, guys, and I'm really stoked to be your host today. My name is WantClue, and I'm really happy to talk today with you about a couple of topics around the Open Source Miners United community. Today, I will bring you 5 different topics and whatever questions come along the way. But before we start, make sure to check out osmu.wiki as well as bitaxe.org. These are our primary sites, as well as if anybody of you who's listening to this later on is not aware of the fact that we do have our main source of communication about a tool that's called Discord. Make sure to check out our Discord server, which you can find under discord.gg/osmu. Alright, enough of that. Let's dive into today's topics. We have plenty of things to talk about. The big thing in the room, the elephant in the room, is the release of the version 2.3.0. Earlier today, I released a video about going over all the release notes as well as all these changes, but I think it's needed to talk about it in this manner of talking to you about what has changed and give you some perspective of what is coming next as well. As well as we do have a community member that I was really surprised to join this community, but I'm really happy to see him in here and I want to talk about this as well. So let's see if we might be lucky today and have him on the show as well. Who knows? As well as I want to talk about another topic, which is the new web flasher. Most of you guys already know we do have a Bitaxe web flasher, and this is currently rebuilt by me, and it's currently in a testing phase, and I want to talk a little bit about this. As well as we have brilliant memes, guys. We do have a channel which is dedicated to memes. I love this channel, but nevertheless, I think that there's a need to talk about this. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about my workshop in the Netherlands that I did last weekend. And I want to give you a perspective about OSMU going international and just spreading the word of open source minus United and what open source development means. All right, let's start with the first topic. Let's talk about the version 2.3.0. All right. We should all now go over to github.com and check out the ESP-miner repository on Scott's GitHub account. And I mean, if you do take a look on the release changes on the version 2.3.0, man, it is a mess. Not a mess, it's massive what's going on there. I do see that we do have Scott in the audience. I'm not sure if you're currently available, but maybe you want to come up on stage and talk with me about a couple of these changes. Hey Scott, it's good to have you here.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good. I'm impressed. We're at Town Hall number 21. Like you said,
Oh my
time is
goodness,
flying.
yeah. Time is
And look at all,
flying by.
all these people in the crowd. This is awesome.
We have 21 people in the crowd, which is really, really amazing. And guys, I need to say this. If you do have any questions, want to ask anything, just have a chat. Make sure to raise your hand. You do have a button somewhere down there in Discord where you can raise your hand, and then I'll make sure to bring you up on stage. Just be aware about the fact that town halls are usually recorded and uploaded later on. So if you don't want your voice to be recorded, make sure to use the town hall channel, which is a chat, to ask any questions if you do have any. All right, Scott, we do have the version 2.3.0. What the heck? It is flying from our releases, and I think this one is some of these major releases that was really needed, right?
Yeah, yeah. This one kind of it was going to be 2.2.3, but then kind of once we got rolling. We had a number of contributors that really stepped up and submitted a bunch of PRs. And kind of once we got rolling, it was like, wow, this is going to be a much bigger release. So we bumped it to 2.3.0 to make it a more major release. But we got lots of stuff in there. Initially, I got some feedback from Kevin, who does the support for Altair, and he was saying that some people were having trouble understanding if their unit was in overheat mode. And I had also gotten some messages to that effect. So initially I wanted to just change the display UI and the AxOS UI to like make it more clear that the Bitaxe was in overheat mode, a
Yeah.
very important mode that you added some time ago. I just wanted to make it more clear that the Bitaxe had overheated, so people didn't think it was just broken. And then it got
Just
carried away. We got all
just for
kinds of
reference
stuff
here,
added.
oh, not for reference, but just to clarify something. I'm not sure, Scott, are you cutting out? Is anybody else in the audience hearing him cutting out? Or is it just me? Seems like your connection is not good, or it's mine. Okay, seems like my connection is shit. Whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well,
yeah, you said
I
you
hear you
initially just
fine.
wanted to
So
make sure that the overheat mode is displayed correctly, because I don't know, maybe I was not doing a good job of telling the people what to do. I do agree it was not the best implementation of how you need to disable the overheat mode, but it's really great to
yeah.
see plenty of people fixing it, and now we do have a way more appealing and way more understandable design, I believe.
Yeah, we got that. We got that figured out. Huge thanks to E. Anderson and Mr. V for contributing there. There's a bunch of UI stuff that had to happen, and I don't know that from my point of view, and I think some other people too. Like the UI programming is kind of magic. So it's cool to have their help with that. They have some experience there. Yeah, we got the overheat mode is much more clear. I think now it it says on the display that you're in overheat mode, and it also shows you the IP address. I think I totally forgot about that before, but
Oh
if
yeah.
we're not cycling the display, then we wouldn't show the IP address. And if we're telling people to go to AxOS, they're definitely gonna need to know the IP address. So we got that on the display. And then now when you go to AxOS, there's like a big red banner up at the top. It's like, you're in overheat mode. Go to the settings. And then when you're in settings, another big red button that shows you how to disable it and tells you that you need to change the voltage and frequency back.
Yeah.
We kind of made this decision early on that overheat mode would be, it wouldn't like automatically reset. It would go into overheat mode, and then it needs the user to reset it manually.
Yeah, we need to
That's
notify the
because,
user to actually make sure this device is not in a bad spot or the cooling is appropriate. Because we've seen plenty of people just telling, hey, my device is constantly rebooting. And after we've implemented the overheat mode, it was like, oh, my device is overheating. What's the cause? And now
yeah,
they fixed it.
yeah. Under normal circumstances, your Bitaxe shouldn't overheat. So if it did, something's wrong. It's your fan isn't working, your heatsink is off, it's in way too hot of a room, or you've overclocked it too much, and so something needs to happen. So that's the goal there, is to get people to be aware of that and make that change to make it not overheat. So we got that in there. Um, Gosh, we got a ton of other
And
stuff.
just
We
just for
got
the reference, I'm sorry to interrupt you here. Just for the reference, I was counting how many PRs we had. 42 PRs for this release.
oh my gosh, wow, wow. Okay, well, let's see if I can remember them all. There was um, I just kind of on a whim, I was decided to remove all of the compiler warnings. We had a bunch of stuff that had crept in, and so I went through and fixed a lot of the compiler warnings. Most of those were just like, making sure to cast the arguments properly, little things like that. But then we had these two warnings that have been around for a while about the fact that the ADC and the I2C libraries were depreciated. So I wanted to get rid of those. I updated the ADC library. That was no big deal. Updating the I2C library was a huge rabbit hole. It was a slippery slope getting that changed because so many things use I2C, and so it kind of had to dig into all parts and all corners of the code of the ESP miner code to fix that. But we got that fixed. We got the more modern expressive I2C library. That seems to be working good. It also has looking at it, it seems like it has better protection, like concurrency protection. So if two, different threads try and access I2C at the same time, I think this will handle it better. So far, so good. Let's see, what else did we get? Oh yeah, we got fallback stratum pools. This was E. Anderson. He's not here right now, but he had been just championing this idea with a couple other people. Cool. They're like, oh yeah, we just did it, and here's the PR, and it works. It seems to work great. So if you update to 2.3.0 and then you go to AxeOS and settings, you'll see now that there's a lot more fields where you can enter information. So you can enter your primary stratum pool. That's where it'll first try and connect to and mine to that address. And then if that stops working or just doesn't work because the pool is down, it will go to the fallback stratum address. That seems to be working pretty good. We moved the Wi-Fi network settings to its own tab in AxeOS, partly because the settings started to get pretty crazy because we had the fallback stratum stuff in there was kind of crazy. And I thought that having network settings in its own tab would be helpful because when you're first setting up your Bitaxe, like that's all you really need to do is change your Wi-Fi information. And so the idea being is that you can go right to that tab. It just has the only things you need, the three things you need to change. Actually, the two things you need to change right there. And that's it. You can just get that done, restart it, and go from there.
I mean, also with Wi-Fi, Anderson, really, I was saying this earlier in my video today, but Anderson is just so insane how many PRs he did and how many things he fixed. It is a pleasure to have this dude in our community and just helping us out with fixing so many things. And what I was about to say is now he also enabled two different Wi-Fi bands, 802.11k as well as V, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Same here. He was like, oh yeah, I sent a PR for this. And I'm like, okay, I should Google what these things are.
Yeah.
They're just like modifications to the way surprising. Okay, it's a modifications to the way some of the networks are discovered, I guess, in Wi-Fi, if I'm remembering this correctly. Anyways, I think it's going to increase compatibility of the Bitaxe connecting to different Wi-Fi access points going forward. So that's all good.
Yeah, also
software thing, so why not?
Yeah, as well as now you can go in your favorite Starbucks and just use the open Wi-Fi. I mean, for whatever reason, I wouldn't do that, but now you can.
Yes, that's right.
I believe for Wi-Fi, so you can just start or go ahead in just a second. I believe with Wi-Fi, the next big thing that we actually need to implement is some sort of a drop-down menu with a discovery on Wi-Fi networks near your location. Like you just click on scan and it shows you the Wi-Fis that are in your next area.
Yes, we can do that. I think the NerdMiner has that. We should make an issue about that. We could definitely do it. The only bummer is it takes a second for the ESP32 to scan and find all the networks to populate that list. But I think we could do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe so as well. I mean, there were plenty of things that were changed. A couple of these PRs, like as I said, 42, if I didn't miscalculate or miscount here. It's insane. It's probably one of the biggest releases that we ever did when we're talking about how many PRs went into it. And I mean, there were a couple cosmetic things, especially to the visualization of XOS and how everything is displayed there. For example, in the early days, we had the Bitaxe Max, which was just using shy about 20 watts if you overclock it to some certain extent. Then the Ultra, which was going maybe roughly a little bit about 20 watts. But now with the camera, you can easily go up to 40 watts. So we needed to adjust the visualization of these, what are these called? Gauges?
Gauges.
Gauges, thank you. So yeah,
That's a weird word.
yeah, it is. It is. It's, I don't know. And I mean, plenty of other great things also have been implemented in this release. Most of
Oh,
these,
you know,
yeah.
I just, one of the things that we did this time around is we were very strict and consistent about not just committing to master. So all these features they were developed on branches, and then PRs were created, and they were merged from PRs. Hopefully, after multiple people reviewed it, which is great. It's good to see that formalized a little bit. I think that helps for other people getting onboarded to help contribute. One of the other things that E. Anderson did is this is so cool. Like, I really, really appreciate this feature. But now GitHub Actions, essentially the server
Mm-hmm.
builds the firmware releases. So it's not like, you know, you or I or someone else is building the release on our computer with our specific tool chain set up and then releasing those binaries. Now it's very consistent because the server is going to do it every time.
And
So we
it's
don't have
doing
to
with
worry
all the
about.
prerequisites that we set it to. Because I mean, obviously, all of us know the issue. It worked on my PC. Yeah, guess what? Now it's not working on production. So with this action that he wrote, it's really amazing just to see that we can now do pre-releases for beta versions, and it builds it if we tell it to. And if you want to do a release, we just use a tag, release this tag, and it builds it. It's so freaking cool.
It really is. It really is. I think that's going to help a lot with consistency and reducing bugs. And of course, it also generates all of the factory binaries too for all the different um, hardware models that we have. So
I
I
mean,
think,
of course, it is missing a couple one. For example, the 203, but I believe the 203 was never really sold in high quantities. We really quickly moved over to the 204, so that's left behind. But
yeah, I think we got to add 600, 400. Those ones aren't in there, but this is cool. So those will be available for people right out of the gate. Um, Gosh, what else do we have here? We have a bunch of new contributors. We have one, two, three,
yeah,
four,
White
five.
Cookie, Adam
And
West, Ada Source, MRV777, B Rowan, Only Black Stars, P Riz, and Jigger. Thanks to you guys if you're listening to this or later on. Thanks for contributing. It is highly appreciated.
I saw Adam was in here. Maybe not anymore. He was at the beginning. Yeah. Anyway, super cool to have all those people and um, contributing now. And oh, PMax has got a commit there. A big memory leak fix from PMax, who's in the audience. Shout out, thank you for that.
Um, I mean, I'm not sure if B Rowan is in the audience. I'm wondering why. I mean, I do get it, but why do we display the MAC address now in the web UI?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think he wanted it in the API
Hmm.
because Brett Rowan, he is the maintainer of. Oh my gosh, it's a Python library that communicates with Miner APIs. What is it
Mm.
called?
Mm.
PyMiner? Maybe it's called
Mm-hmm.
PyMiner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, is it?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a library that a lot of people use. It communicates with ant miners and what's miners and all that good stuff. And so he's the maintainer of that. And he added the Bitaxe to it. And to be honest, I haven't used it, but for some reason he was saying it's helpful to have the MAC address available in the API.
Yeah.
And then
I guess it's
he
way
got
better
it
than
added to the
using the
UI.
host name.
Yeah, because the
Mm.
host names aren't unique. So do we got it added to XOS as well?
It's called PyASIC.
PyASIC. There we go. PyMiner is PMax is Python based miner, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. It's the one that's running on the Pi8, so the attachment board for the Raspberry Pi, as well as on these non-standalone QX and whatsoever naming schemes.
Yeah. Oh man, we got this is like these small little UI tweaks but they're kind of cool. Like now there's a little visibility toggle for passwords. So if you want to see if you typed in your password correctly, you can click that little like eyeball button and you can see your password. I
I
guess there's some pools that like you actually put in like commands into the password field.
mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we need to move this again because earlier today when I was recording the video of showing what's new on the web UI, I was seeing that my password manager that I use was trying to place its icon right above it. So I'm not
Oh
able,
no.
yeah, I'm not able to click the icon to reveal the password unless I deactivate for this specific site my password manager. So maybe we need to move this icon somewhere else.
Okay. Well, yeah, we could move it over one way or the other, or
Mm.
I don't know, make an issue. That's how we keep track of all these things.
Hmm. All right. Yeah. Wait. Let's go back to
Oh,
this.
you did we do have like the screens on the display, the OLED,
Mm. Yeah.
um,
So
are
originally,
totally simplified. You did that.
hmm yeah. I mean, the idea was your idea, and it was pretty straightforward. Just like, all right, we have way too many information on these three different screens, and all we need is just two different screens. One for the hash rate, for the temperature, for the power consumption, as well as your efficiency. This is the screen one, and the second screen is just what kind of pool are you connected, and it will switch if your primary pool fails to the secondary pool, and it will show this on the screen as well. And then last but not least, the IP address. So now you do have six different statistics that you can see on the screen, and I really just love it. It is way more simplified. It is enough to see if your device is doing anything. And literally, guys, be honest. If you want to see anything further from that, you just go straight up into the web UI. So that's the reason why we did this. And by the way, good job by actually cutting the public pool name or the pool names. I was doing a terrible job on that.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. I don't know. Ben might be busy, but he had a pretty busy last 2 weeks. I don't know. Ben? You want to share what you've been up to?
Please.
All right,
Let's see. Maybe.
maybe. All right. Dude's been making a lot of gammas.
Oh, it's insane. Like, um, I don't want to go too far ahead because I want to speak about my workshop that I did in the Netherlands on the end of today's
Oh
town
yeah,
hall.
yeah, yeah. That
Oh,
sounds awesome. Let's hear about that.
okay. Let's just uh, let's just jump into that. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was invited by Bitcoin Brabant. I do hope that I pronounced this correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. But yeah, he is a well-known figure over there, and he's doing plenty of workshops as well as meetups and other stuff. And he was just like, "Hey, you live very close to us. Do you want to come over and do a workshop over here? And let's just sort a little bit on the BitX." And I was like, "Heck yeah!" Because this was the the initiative to go out of my country and bring OSMU a little bit more international, or to a broader audience, better say. And yeah, this was last weekend. I was over there. I still need to cut and edit the whole video because obviously I recorded as much as possible. But it was really, really awesome. We were there in basically a workshop. It was an old workshop of like where you can blacksmith and craft things and do
Oh, that's awesome.
woodwork and stuff like this. It was freaking me out. I was going in there. I was like, "Am I at the right spot? What's going on here?" And then he was like, "No, no, that's all right. We do place a couple of tables here and there, and it works." And it was just awesome. And like 15 minutes in there, I was saying, "Hey, it's a little bit cold in here." And guess what? He just fired up a couple of miners, and it was warm in there. That was
Perfect.
amazing. That was so perfect. Yeah. So it was really amazing over there. We were, I'd say, between 20 people. I had two different workshops, a beginner workshop and an advanced workshop. And the beginner workshop, I was just speaking about the Bitaxe project, how everything evolved and developed over time and how long it took. And obviously I also showed this timeline of the Bitaxe development. And I was giving the people a little bit more of an in-depth of what is going on behind the scenes, because obviously maybe you've heard about Bitaxe, but you don't really know what is going on and how development works and everything else. So I was talking in general about everything around OSMU, and then I was showing the people a little bit on the hardware side as well as on the software side how these things evolve and how these things are developed over time and what we do to increase performance or to make the web UI better and so on. So this was the beginner part, and then later on that day I do had this advanced workshop. I was originally thinking about doing a workshop where I use these do-it-yourself kits and then we just solder these kits together. But in hindsight, about all my previous workshop, I totally stopped doing this approach because this will take up to 5 or 6 hours with untrained people that never have done soldering before. And I always want to be this kind of dude who's going out there and giving workshops to people to learn something. And throwing them into the cold water like 20 feet down is not a good idea. So I scrapped this idea, and what I did was pretty simple. We had a couple of Bitaxes ready and just working out of the box. And what I was doing was I was firing up KiCad and I was showing them the components, and then we were going over these components. I was introducing them to different components, and I was explaining what these components are doing, as well as letting them try to figure out what this component is doing, which is kind of cool. And we had a couple of people there that are actually trained in this specific manner. So a couple of electronic engineers and stuff like this were over there. So this was really great. It was this smaller community over there, you could say, that was helping each other out to figure this stuff out, what's on this PCB. And then this was maybe like 20 minutes. And then after that, we started soldering. I said to them, all right, we want to start with big components. We want to try to understand how the soldering process works, how this works. Well, what does it take to take off a part? Why does it stick to the PCB? How does solder paste actually work? And what kind of temperatures do you need? And then we were working ourselves through, I'd say, 5 or 6 different components on the board and trying to figure out what they do, how they actually do that, what are they for, and then desoldering and soldering them back on. And obviously at the end we tested if everything was working again, and guess what? All of these were working again. So,
no way, that's awesome. They're all working?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this approach is way better than having do-it-yourself kits and trying to educate them to do all the things. Especially think about people that are going onto a workshop and thinking, all right, I'm going to solder today my first very Bitaxe. And then you tell them, all right, the hardest part is the ASIC. Here it is, good luck. That's not going to work. So that's the reason why... Yeah, that's the reason why I said I scrapped this initial idea of doing it with do-it-yourself kits. I was doing that with my first 4 workshops that I was doing. And the response was always great, but the... how can you say that? What was happening afterwards was a little bit holding me back, because I was seeing like 2 to 3 people sometimes not being able to solder this, which isn't that bad because I can help them, but I saw their frustration. So I said to myself, all right, I need to fix this. And now I do, thanks to BitMaker, by the way, I do use kits from him, and they are all working out of the box. And then we move along the way and try to figure out what these components are doing and soldering and desoldering them back on. So it's a really good approach, and it's way shorter, as well as giving them more time to process what is going on. Because with the very first Bitaxe workshop that I did, I was feeling it. People were not understanding what we were doing, and it was way too stressful for them.
Yeah, it's an advanced kit, right? Like if you've never soldered before, or if you've only soldered a little bit, like it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, it's even hard if you're like a professional. We we've seen a couple people try and get PCBWay, which is a professional electronics assembler, to build their bid axes, and like half of them don't work. So
That's the
even the
thing.
pros have a tough time.
Every single time I try to order something from PCBWay, I feel so bad because they are asking me questions in the email. I'm wondering like, who am I talking to? Is this a kid or is this a professional? I'm not blaming. I'm just saying, fix this shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, as you said, it is definitely something for advanced people. I think you can learn this pretty quickly, but you need to be aware about the fact that maybe you should take 2 or 3 steps back and start with maybe the max, the very first version, because this one to solder is really easy. It is straightforward. The S17 chips are really forgiving if you do shit with them. If you move along to the Ultra version, to the BM1366, they are okay, not that bad. But if you progress from that to the Super chip, the S21, as well as the S21 Pro chips, now that we do have the BM1370, they add in more pins, they add in a little bit of magic, I don't know. It gets harder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be cool someday to do like a kit bid axe, where we have like modules that you can kind of plug in.
Like SoC thingies that you just use GPIOs, and yeah, that would be so cool.
It would be really cool. We could totally do it.
It's like
It's sort of like
Bitaxe
your
for
V4
toddlers.
kit. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Legos or something. Kind of snap them all together. Like it'll still work. That'd be fun to do sometime for sure.
Also, it was so insane. Like, speaking about the workshop in the Netherlands, it was a great experience over there. But what was really freaking me was like, I was landing there basically. I drove there by car. It wasn't that far away from my new place where I'm living now. But the first thing he literally told me was like, "Yeah, I ordered 1,000 Bitaxe cameras. What now?" And I was like, "What? What did you do?" I was like, "Yeah, what the fuck's going?" No, the people in the Netherlands, they love this. I was like, "Oh man, this is so amazing! Like, we're growing so fast." And like, Ben, really props out to you for creating Public Pool. I see so many new pools out there. Pools in the Netherlands, pools in Austria, in Switzerland, in Germany, all over the place. Here in the DACH area, are these things spreading and growing like mushrooms. It's great.
I mean, this is what we need, right? We need more pools, more options. Like we don't want to have we don't really have want to have any centralization, right? It's even if it's a solo pool, it doesn't really work if it's just like one big one that everyone uses, right? We want to have lots of different pools so that people can make the block templates however they want. They can, if one of these pools gets some crazy idea they're going to start censoring transactions, that's fine. It doesn't make a big difference because we have tons of them.
I mean, in theory, we do have the answer to this. In reality, it's way more complex. And what I'm thinking about here is peer-to-peer pool, which does exist. It just failed. If we could rise it again from the ashes like a phoenix, I don't know, and make it better than what it was before, that would be awesome. But for now, I'd say that's far beyond our scope and our skills, probably. I don't know. It is a tough business, and sure, we do have plenty of haters who gonna say, "Oh, you mine solo, your shares doesn't count because you're not providing anything to the network." Yes, you're right, but it is still the thing how Bitcoin works.
I mean, you're providing the exact same benefit to the network whether you're pooled mining or solo mining, right? Your hash rate is your hash rate.
Correct.
And it's just, do you want to like pool your rewards with other people or not? It only kind of affects your payout. And the reality of the matter is, Bitaxes and sort of the other miners that we're working on here are really low hash rates. So you're just not going to earn that much with pooled mining. Like even if it was no fee, you know, you're all you're ever going to earn is, I don't know, like
I mean, I was
30,
mining
40
a couple
sats a day.
months with my Bitaxe Hex on Ocean. I believe I was doing 120 sets per day, something like that.
Okay.
It
I mean,
was,
that's pretty good, but
yeah.
you know, that's all you'll ever do. And so really, maybe you could just go on what's the RoboSats or Bisq and just buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, hodl that, and then solo mine uh, with your BitAxe.
What about Strike? Is Strike common in the US?
Uh, Strike's in the US for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Is it common over there? Like I do use it daily.
Oh yeah, yeah. Strike's really common. It's just KYC.
Yeah, correct.
I think some people are saying like I want to pool mine with my BitAxe because I can get those non KYC Sats, and it's like yes, you will, but I don't think it'll be more than $100. It certainly won't be $100 in a year. Um,
It's a tough
so
process to gather Bitcoin over non-KYC pools and KYC
well, there's
pools.
I mean, if you want to get some non KYC Sats, check out Bisq BISQ or RoboSats. Those are both ways you can get non KYC Sats, especially in small amounts like $100.
Yeah, if you're
So
in
I'm
the
saying
US.
it's just purchase your non KYC Sats like right out of the gate, uh, hodl that, and then run your BitAxe solo mining. Because at least with solo mining, you have a chance, not a very good chance, but a chance at winning like, you know, significant.
3.1.25, yeah. That would be amazing. I mean, that probably works in the US, but I mean, please correct me, someone in the audience, if I'm wrong about this. But for example, I live in Germany, so in Europe, and it is just not possible to buy somewhere KYC free Bitcoin unless you do have a friend who's selling them to you. But as far as I do know, uh, the last couple of exchanges needed to introduce KYC because of European regulations. That is my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that. But this is really disappointing. And then I just use Strike these days. It works. It's okay, and I just send it over to my wallet. I don't care.
Check out Bisq. It's like a peer-to-peer thing, right? It just matches you up with people, and
Mm-hmm.
then you figure out how to pay however you want. Yeah, RoboSats and Bisq are global, so it's just an app, and
Uh huh.
it pairs you up. People post offers to buy or sell, and it just pairs you up with them. And everyone has a different way that you might pay. Like you could actually pay over Strike. You could put cash in the mail. Um, you can pay with like Amazon gift cards. There's like a whole different range of ways that you can pay for it. And I haven't used RoboSats, but at least Bisq,
So basically, it's like
they
a
kind of
service, and they take a fee, I guess.
they act as sort of like an escrow thing, right, to try and reduce your chances of getting scammed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a reputation for different people, so you can see um, their reputation. And yeah, check it out. It's worth checking it out.
Well,
You
that's
know, you
that's
can't
good to hear.
you can't buy RoboSats. Yeah, I've heard about RoboSats. I haven't tried it. Um, you can't buy big amounts, right? Like no one's gonna risk selling you like thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin on there, right? It's
But
just like
probably 1,000, right?
yeah, I think you can probably do that. I mean, it all depends on who's on there
Hmm.
and what offers are available.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of out of the scope of this, but check it out. It's cool.
All right. Talking about this topic, I do believe it's a good segue over to a new topic that I highly love to discuss with you. We do have a new member in our Discord, and it is not something against everybody else who's in this Discord. I love you all. It's just interesting that this specific dude is joining us. I'm talking about the Gecko Science developer.
Yeah, this was yesterday morning. I got a
Mm-hmm.
message from him. His name is Sidehack, and he's the main guy behind Gecko Science that's been making like USB stick miners and small pod miners based on Bitmain ASICs for a long time.
I
Like,
I believe everybody has seen them, like big farms of USB sticks.
yeah, I mean, it for a long time it was your only way to get into home mining. I think he's the only
Mm-hmm.
one making small miners for a long time, and I certainly, had my first experience mining with one of those. And
I still
yeah, he
do
messaged
have.
me yesterday morning and was like, "I'm gonna start making bid axes, and I've got some modifications to it, and I'm gonna follow the license, and it's all gonna be open source." And I was very excited to say the least because SideHack's been doing it for a really long time. He's a great engineer, and this is just someone fantastic to have in the community, and to have him, at least consider open source Bitcoin mining is fantastic. Happy to have him.
It's That's really great to hear. I mean, I was really surprised by him joining us because obviously everybody can join us. It doesn't matter, but then him taking the advantage and telling us, "Hey guys, I'm gonna do a bit X. I just modify a couple of parts. Obviously, I'm gonna open source this and then I'm gonna sell it." And taking a look on his website, the prices are totally fine. Like he's not doing a douchebag move here, like a couple other people are doing. I'm not pointing to somebody here, but
I
just
haven't seen it. What are the prices? Did he post it today?
165 for a gamma.
Nice, nice, nice.
It's totally okay. It is totally okay. I've seen gammas going for 300 on a couple of websites, and that's the reason why I posted on Nostr that I'm also currently building a web crawler for all these resellers or sellers or manufacturers of Bitaxe devices to point out the prices of them. Maybe
Oh,
maybe
nice.
maybe it's not in their terms of service, or maybe they want to. I don't know. Maybe they have some. I don't know, like terms of service of you're not allowed to use a web crawler on my web page. Man, I don't care. I just pull the data and then I provide it, and maybe we can do some sort of a good uh, website out of this because it's really straightforward and really simple. Just pull the data and tell what's going on there, what kind of prices there, and then you can decide where you want to purchase them. And this is all also what I always recommend to the people. Even though you listen to anybody of us, don't trust us. Don't trust verify. Go out there, Google the stuff, or use your search engine that you prefer, and make sure that you do a little bit of due diligence. It is needed to understand that there are more than just two shops in this world, and that you can get a better price. I mean, with that, I hope to force these bad resellers, I like to call them, to lower the prices. That's my goal.
We should. There. Did you see that email that Tiny Chip Hub got?
Mm.
Should we talk about that? I thought that
Oh
was
yeah, please.
pretty.
So he was sending this in general chat, and I woke up, and 10 minutes later he was like, "Hey dude, listen, I do have something to tell you. We might have a problem." So before we explain this situation, let me tell you something else. So Tiny Chip Hub was responding to me a couple weeks ago that some Chinese company is claiming copyright on the name BitEggs now, and they're trying to sue as many companies as possible that are reselling BitEggs devices. So that's the first thing. And this one appears to be legit, which
It
is
appears to be legit. How?
legit from the dude or the company who's trying to sue others. I mean, it will never pass. Like BitEggs is an open source trademark. It is not even a trademark, if I'm not mistaken. It is a project. So in theory, everybody could apply for this trademark. But even though that you do, everybody of us can prove that this device existed before some weirdo company was trying to make it to a trademark. So it doesn't care.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
mean,
care.
BitX is trademarked in the U.S. You get that through consistent usage. But I mean, as much as the U.S. wants to be the world police, we're not. So there's a lot of other countries out there,
Mm.
and you know, there's a lot of countries. You could go to any of them and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely the inventor of the BitX, and I'm gonna, copyright or trademark it." And it's like there's nothing we can do about it. So
Yeah.
I think that the email that Tiny Chip Hub got is definitely a scam.
Oh yeah, today. So for everybody who's not aware of what has happened, so Tiny Chip Hub is a Chinese manufacturer and reseller of all sorts of Bitaxe devices, and they also released the Supra hex, so the BM1368 packed into a hex, which is great. Just needed to point it out. Nevertheless, so they received an email of some weird company thingy who was telling them, "Hey, I am from the legal team of Bitcoin Merge, and apparently it seems like you used our product pictures, and this is an infringement, and we want to sue you." Blah blah blah. Plenty of bad wording and other things in this email, so it appears to be a scam. Especially like, even though, like, let's just consider this: Bitcoin Merge would go this route. Why the heck should, and this is real, why the heck should Bitcoin Merge copy paste Tiny Chip Hub's pictures on their website and then sue Tiny Chip Hub on their own pictures? Like, how stupid is this?
Man.
I don't get it.
If there was like an actual, like let's say it got copyrighted or trademarked in China or some other country, and then someone there tried to come after like a U.S. Bitaxe seller, should be like, "Oh no, I got it from Lucky Miner. You go sue them."
Yeah, please, please.
Like, "Oh no, it's just Lucky Miner. Just you can go sue them, and then they can just figure out who copied who."
Mm. It's insane. Like, scammers are trying everything, and recently we are not seeing that many scammers coming into this Discord. A couple are, and we are, I'd say, rather quick of banning them. I always add a reason to my banning, which is just GFY. That's always what I add to it, because I think it's needed.
Yeah.
Probably it's a bot, I don't know. But it's interesting. In the early days, or like, let's say half a year ago, we were seeing scammers every day. And these days it's probably once in a week. So it's
You gotta pay attention. I've heard about a couple recent things. There's people like impersonating
mm-hmm.
the admins and other folks from OSMU and doing private messages. So, I can tell you that any of the admins here are not going to message you about some random crypto project. So that's a red flag immediately.
Oh yeah, we are all 100% Bitcoin only.
So yeah, if I message you, if it looks like I'm messaging you, asking you about some crypto thing, that's definitely not true. But just generally speaking, like, pay close attention to the username. They're like adding extra periods at the end, or a slight variation on the spelling.
Yeah, maybe this
is still happening. So, be careful. Definitely don't send anyone your private keys or your login, or
yeah, please don't do that.
software.
Scott, what's it called? Like, if I do place on an E this dot with like a tilde?
Oh, like an accent mark?
Yeah, I mean, you can do this with an E, with an I, and a couple other letters. So sometimes it's really tough to see. So I mean, at least for our both names, like WantClue and Scott, it's really easy to see. We have our Discord names. You being Scott, I being WantClue. Or you have __ Scott, and then I just have straight up WantClue. So if there's anything else than that, it's probably scam. It's 100% scam.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed with Discord. I feel like they could make this easier to verify, but they just don't. So,
I mean,
anyways, pay attention. If someone messages you and it sounds fishy, likely it's a impersonator.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move along. As I said earlier, there are two other topics that I want to talk about. One is the new web flasher. So maybe you have recently tried to use the web flasher that all of you are knowing probably, which is on wantclue.github.io/bitaxe-web-flasher. I'm not really updating that.
Flasher.bidaxe.org.
Oh, Bitaxe, I'm sorry. Or flasher.bidaxe.org, yeah, correct. Um, I'm not really updating that currently because I'm working on a new one, which is currently in a sort of testing phase. I'm trying to move away from the script-based ESP tool and use a Node.js implementation of it, which apparently seems to be not that reliable, at least from what I've heard from these responses. A couple of people were not able to use it. You said it's not working on your end. With the old one, it is working. So I'm a little bit confused. I'm going to try a couple of other approaches in the next 2 weeks to figure out if I should change some major things or not, because this is really worrying me that Node.js is that bad in the implementation, or maybe it's just me being stupid, because it's this kind of project and doing all of this in Node.js and then in combination with TypeScript is, I'd say, the first time for me to do some sort of this size of a project. Of course, I was doing smaller things like adding a couple of lines in TypeScript. That's not that hard. But getting used to these frameworks and stuff like this is a little bit different, but it's a good thing, and I'm learning. And obviously, I do have a grant for this, so I will work on it and I will make it happen. But yeah, the whole idea about the new web flasher is the following one: we need a better UI that is more appealing and clear on instructions on what to do, or at least it should give you no other choice than to flash your device. You don't want to destroy it. You want to flash with the most recent firmware probably. And then there is also a second requirement that was set to me to do this, which was we need some sort of a web-based serial logger, which there are plenty out there, but having this on the same web page with a good implementation and giving the option just to plug in your Bitaxe device, click on scan or click on monitor, and then it just reads the logs from your Bitaxe. And then you can say stop and download these logs and send them into Discord and tell, hey, admins, you're doing stupid stuff, my Bitaxe is not working, something like that, is way better, especially for us in the development process of figuring out, all right, a couple of people having issues. It's good that they now don't need any sort of experience and can still send us logs so that we can understand what's going on their devices.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this tool. I mean, I think a lot of people message me, and if you have like network problems with your Bitaxe, you actually kind of have to debug those with the USB log. You can't do it through the logs in AxOS because the network isn't working. So
Correct.
USB logs are really handy, and I feel like I'm always asking people to get them. So it'd be really cool to just point them to this tool, and it's like, super simple for them to just save that output into a file and drop it in Discord. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, Ostrus V was sending in the chat that he's missing the gamma with the version 2.3.0. I mean, as I said, I already moved my GitHub repo. I changed a couple of things in the README that I'm no longer really maintaining this version of the Bitaxe web flasher because I'm working on the new one. And the past 2 months were, all right, I got some sort of it's almost working. This version that I now do have is at least working with what I've tested. But now that I do have set it public, I got plenty of new responses of other people who are telling me what kind of sorts of things are not working. So now I just need to even out things and make it work on all end devices. There are some limitations to it. Obviously, the ESP tool written by Espressive does have the limitation of being Chromium based, or sometimes some of these features work on Safari as well, I believe. So it doesn't work on all of the end devices. For example, Firefox is not supported. That's okay. I mean, who is using Firefox? I don't know.
Yeah, I think for now it's fine if it just works in Chromium. We can tell people to try that out.
I mean,
it relies on web serial, which is I think just a Chromium thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The bad thing about the old one was I'm a user of the web browser called Brave, which is also Chromium based, and I also use from time to time a couple other Chromium based browsers. And my old web flasher is not working for me. I still need to use Chrome, and I hate it that I need to do that. And that's the whole reason why I grew this idea of, all right, I need to rework this. I need to make it happen and make it work with other implementations. And yeah, as I said, I need to even out the last couple of bug fixes or bugs that I do find there, hopefully. And then we do have a really great one. I mean, you can currently check it out and test it, and please do it if you want to. I don't advise you, but if you want, you can do that. You can find it under bitaxeorg.github.io/bitaxe-web-flasher. Maybe I should put it in the chat as well. It's a brand new design. I mean, obviously, for just the design, you don't win an award, but the whole backend changed from script based over to Node.js based, which should, in theory, allow now all Chromium based browsers to be usable. But it seems like a couple of users do have issues, so I need to figure that out. All right. Before we dive into the last topic, we do have a great question. Scene was asking any updates on figuring out why the board version 304s are not working. I mean, my answer to this is no. I haven't looked into them, and I'm not on the hardware side. Maybe you, Scott, do have some insights, but I doubt it.
Yeah. There was a small update. So that 304 and most of the ultra hexes were made by an OSMU member named MacFighter, and he the other day said he was looking at it, and I think he found the issue about why 304 isn't working, and I don't think he has submitted a fix, but I'll make a note to ask him. There's a bunch of I think there's a bunch of important new features in 304 that would be really nice to have. So we'll see if we can get MacFighter to, I don't know, maybe make a 305 or whatever that has those fixes in there. I think it's close.
I mean, also with that, let me tell you something. Like I told you that the super hex is also a thing, as well as the gamma hex. I've seen the prototype from Tiny Chip Hub, but they quickly responded the gamma hex. Just swapping out the ASICs isn't doing much, and it was causing plenty of trouble. So they are now working on something different. They try to build a BM1370 with 8 ASICs instead of just 6.
Like 6 wasn't working, so they went to 8. All right.
Yeah, because of better cooling. I don't know. Don't ask me. I have no clue about it.
Okay. Well, I'll look forward to seeing what they come up with.
I mean, that's the reason why I'm called WantClue. I need clue. Bad jokes. All right. Now let's move on to jokes. That's a really great segue. Guys, have you noticed that we do have a channel called Memes? Have you taken a look in them?
Oh, they're so good.
They are so good. Especially
yeah.
a couple days earlier, there was this Lucky Miner immersion tank. Man, I was laughing so much. This was so great. As well as a couple other great memes. I really love this channel. This is giving me hope about the Bitaxe project.
Our chief meme officer, Just Toddle, who's been a long time Bitaxe user, he anointed himself as the chief meme officer, but he's taking his job very seriously and has come up with lots of epic memes that are all posted in there. Some good ones posted on Twitter too. I like the Lucky Miner immersion cooling kit too. That guy like in his garage just pissing on it. So good.
You know what? Let me quickly do that. I just created a new role, which is called Chief Meme Officer. I'm gonna give it to him. There we go. Add role. Chief meme officer. Now he's officially the chief meme officer.
The chief meme officer, important, position. And I think, there's obviously some BitX knockoffs that don't follow the license, and there's like nothing we can really do about it, technically, right? Because they're in China, and like we don't have a budget for lawyers, but we do have some good memes. So let's let's show these guys what's up.
Well. No, stop there. We do have a couple of things that we can do, and maybe I did a couple of things already. So if you try to import stuff from outside your country or outside your union, whatever it is, or your trade regulations, you do have this import government thingy. Well, what is it called? I'm bad at translation.
Like customs?
Oh yeah, customs. Thank you. So, and there's a great thing about the European Union. You know what you can do with the customs? You can go over there and tell them, hey, I bought this device. It doesn't have any CE certificates or an FCC regulation certificate. I'm not sure if you should import this. Can you make sure to check on them? Maybe I sent a letter. I don't know. Maybe I put in the Lucky Miner name on it. I don't know.
Yay. All right. Yeah, that's one we can go. I think there's probably lots of legit Bitaxes that also do not have FCC.
Yeah, that's correct. But
CE stamps, but
it is correct. It is correct. And we do have, I believe, 2 manufacturers now in Europe who do have CE and FCC and other things as well. So this is really great to see, because it evens out the path for them to be also legit on the regulation side of things, despite the fact we all hate it, I know, but sometimes we need to play along.
Yeah. I mean, I think, at least my strategy is these copycats, we're going to out innovate them, right? We have so much momentum going here, and so many people like legitimately working on these open source projects that we're just going to out innovate them. Like, by the time Lucky Miner gets around to copying a Bitaxe, that's just like the old one, So I think the right way to approach this, it's fun to make fun of them, and maybe we can frustrate them with import export stuff, but like the right way to win here is to out innovate them. Let's just fucking like make cool stuff, don't stop, give it all away, and these guys, they have no chance of keeping up.
Scott, have you taken a look in the most recent picture that I sent in the Appen channel? I don't want to spoil it here, but I just want to make sure that you've seen it. And
yeah. You want to talk about it?
Do you like what I wrote on it?
You're talking about the Bitforge?
Yeah. Like,
what do I think about your board design?
No, I was like, have you in the lower part of it? Have you seen what I wrote on it? I mean, don't spell it, please. Don't do it. My plan is.
Oh, I see it now. I didn't see that before.
Okay. Don't spell it, because
okay.
My plan with this is it is working. I got it working, so that's really great. Now we start manufacture them, and I'm gonna open source them in a couple weeks, because I need to even out a couple last things, and then this one will go open source. And I want the people, maybe I do something in the box and tell them, hey, please open that up and check it out for yourself. It's open source. And then they can take a look on it. And I want to see how they reacted to it.
That's awesome.
I was thinking about sending one to their headquarters as well. Maybe I should do that. Because it's utilizing the B1368, so it's roughly 1.2 terahash, 1.3.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. I think, dude, if it might be a little bit early to say this, but I don't know. Fuck it. If you're making closed source Bitcoin miners, dude, watch out. Like, seriously, we're making so much progress. Like,
This is so
I don't
good.
know. I wouldn't want to be making closed source Bitcoin miners right now. There's so many cool projects in the works too. That it's ah, like
I,
this is changing fast and for the better.
you know what? What I believe, one of the biggest things that is holding back the BitX community or the Open Source Miners United community, and for everybody who is listening to this later on, make sure to check out discord.gg/OSMU, is that we haven't attacked the industrial miners. And I'm not talking about that we are producing industrial miners. That was never our goal, as far as I do understand this community. We want to be the community for the home miners. But there's another thing that we can do, which is creating a control board. And we do have something like that already. It is just not finished, but kinda.
Man, there's some awesome developments coming here. Stay tuned. I had a meeting this morning about it. Like, it's going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. We're so close. You know, a lot of the Bitaxe stuff and a lot of the stuff that PMAX has been working on and other people, you know, we're very close. We're like within striking distance of making a fully open source control board and firmware for industrial miners. It's absolutely going to happen. You know, that said, if you are the kind of person who likes to work on embedded Linux, whether that be the hardware or the firmware, let me know. Yeah, dude, closed source miners, we're coming after you.
Oh man, that's so great. All right, let's see. Guys, audience, do you have anything else that you want to talk about? Because now we ran out of topics, and I really love to talk about any other topics. So maybe someone of you wants to come up on stage and just say hi. I don't know. Raise your hand. We will bring you up on stage. If not, we will close this town hall very soon. And let's see, a couple of people are writing in the chat. Let's wait for that. But yeah, sadly, my wine is now empty as well. So
Party's over.
party's over. By the way, guys, before you leave and before we close this one, afterwards is always the after party in the general channel. We do have a general voice channel. Make sure to come over there and let's have a chat. This is obviously then not recorded. I mean, at least for me. I don't know who else is spying on you.
Do we have any other questions in here that?
So Scene is asking, so super hacks in
John,
Bitaxe
it's
org
definitely
repo is
John.
working 701 and Tiny Chip Hub is only one with gamma hacks. So the Bitaxe hacks was designed, or the iteration 304 was designed by MacFighter, which does utilize the ultra chips, the BM1366. Then Tiny Chip Hub, I was telling to them, hey, can you not just go over and place the BM1368 chips on them? And he told me, yeah, we already did that. And I was like, great, post it. I want to see it. And he did. And then I told him to publish it over, and we moved it in the Bitaxe org repository. So 701 is working. He does have a version 702 already, which I don't know. I haven't looked into the changes. But the Tiny Chip Hub is posting all the things they are doing, so they're doing a great job on that. And for the gamma hacks, they do have a prototype, which was not working to their liking, and that's the reason why they stopped on this and why they are now going for one with 8 chips instead of 6. I don't know. I mean,
It sounds like the Super Hex is almost there, and the Gamma Hex is far from being finished.
I mean, they are already selling the super hex.
They are? Okay.
They are already
so Super
selling
Hex
it.
is, you know, Tiny Chip Hub definitely is an early adopter. So you can get early Super Hexes now.
They are sometimes on the pricey side, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm always how do you say this in English? Like, I'm always trying to be as transparent as possible. We do have plenty of resellers, but not that many are diving into niches like the hacks. And Tiny Chip Up is doing that. So I'm really thankful for them being there and being this kind of early adopter.
Yeah, Yeah, I bought a super hex from them. I haven't had a chance to plug it in yet, but
Why not?
oh my gosh, so many things going on. It's on my to-do list for sure.
Okay, great.
So yeah, you can. I guess the summary here is that super hex is out the first revision with that implies maybe
Yeah, the
some
the
issues.
second revision is not on Bitaxe.org, but on their repo. I need to port it over. It's also a good ending, I believe, for today's town hall. Like Bitaxe.org is an organization on GitHub, which will be in the future the organization where all the repositories of OSMU will be in. So our original plan was to move over the ESP miner, for example, as well as all the Bitaxe repositories from your repo. But guys, you know what's going on. Sometimes you need to do a couple of bug fixes, and I don't know, out of a sudden, 1 year pass. It's not that easy always. It takes
That's
time.
the plan. It still is the plan. We're
It,
gonna
i-
move
it
everything
is,
over to the Bitaxe org because it's a proper org, um, GitHub repo and or what is it, organization as opposed to a personal one. But
I need to be more
yeah,
on the nagging side, but currently I'm on a training with my new job, and I'm under the week roughly 700 kilometers away from at home, so it's hard to work remote. But
and
yeah,
also we have the issue that all the Bitaxes out there are hard coded to look for firmware updates at my GitHub repo. So
but we have
it,
fixes for this.
we do. We just have to kind of juggle those things and do it
Hmm.
all at once.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got plans. It'll happen.
All right. With that, I think it's time for us to end today's town hall session. And I thank everybody for being here in the audience. Thank you for everybody who's listening to this later on. If you're still unsure if you should get a Bitaxe or not, I mean, get one. Be self-sovereign and
Join OSMU. Join the OSMU Discord.
join the army. Discord.gg/OSMU. And if you are in doubt, check out bitaxe.org. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and see you in the general channel.